I'm here next to Tweed Bridge, which is on the main road between Coalstream and Berwick-upon-Tweed. This bridge behind me is one of our favourites in the area because it's so old. It was built in 1511, which is when Henry VIII was still on the throne in England and James IV was on the throne in Scotland. It was used to transport the army at the Battle of Flodden, the English army, in order to get to the battlefield, which is just close by, and it was part of the national roadway until the 80s. This bridge that I'm stood on is the modern 80s built bridge, but it means that this bridge here was in use from 1511 to 1984, from the time of Henry VIII, therefore, until Margaret Thatcher was Prime Minister. Incredible. There's so much to find out about it, including how long it is, why that's remarkable, and what records it holds. So I would heartily recommend researching this bridge.
Here we are at Coalstream Bridge. Coalstream Bridge crosses the Tweed just like the Union Chain Bridge does, and just like the Union Chain Bridge, it is co-owned by Scottish Borders Council and Northumberland County Council. This is where you'd have to come, here or Berwick, if you wanted to cross the Tweed before the Union Chain Bridge was built. This bridge was built a lot earlier, 1766, designed by a very famous architect. See if you can find out what else he was famous for. I'll give you a clue. There are lots of them on the coast. He was also very important in the development of something to do with concrete, but I'll let you find that out yourselves. Like the Union Chain Bridge, it has a toll house where people used to have to pay to cross, which was later used as a marriage house. So people used to run away to get married. It's called eloping. People used to elope here.
We're here at Norham Bridge, which is one of my favourite bridges for the area because it's a little bit castle-y. Can you see the features behind me that look a little bit like a castle? See if you can figure out what were they for. Did they have a particular use? It was put up in 1887, so that's slightly after the Union Chain Bridge, which was built in 1820. But maybe there was something here before this stone bridge was put up. Have a little research, see if you can find if there was anything that predates this bridge as a crossing point at Norham. When you're looking for your bridge to research, you don't have to pick one of ours, and you don't have to pick one of the famous ones either. Right next to Norham Stone Bridge is this little wooden structure. We love this one too, a lovely little wooden footbridge. Maybe you could pick one like that if that takes your fancy.
Now we're at Bridge, get the name? Bridge ECM7/199, it says it on there, but everyone knows it as the Jingling or Jingling Bridge, but we're not sure why. And here comes the train. So I'll carry on. Known as the Jingling Bridge. No one knows really why. But the first reference we have to it is from 1916 in the Berwick Advertiser, which we found in Northumberland archives, talking about the ridings of the bounds of Berwick, and it was 1916 and only women were involved. I wonder if you can use your knowledge of what else was going on in the world in 1916 to work out where the men were. My neighbour used to live here when he was a little boy, and he used to say he used to get woken up at 5 in the morning by the steam engines halting here and making a noise. So I wonder if you have any family members who can remember the steam trains here.
Here we are at Scotsgate, which is part of Berwick's Elizabethan walls. We've picked these as a bridge that you could also pick in your research project if you wanted to, but they are a little bit different to some of the other bridges on the list because the other bridges that we have on there, they're something you more go over, whereas these trio of archways, they're bridges too, but it's just we normally go under them. Nonetheless, they would make great bridges to research because you can still see some of the cool features within them now. If you have a look underneath, not the road archway, but the pedestrian archways, you can actually see some of the original features from the gates that used to be present there. Also, you could have a look at how long the full walls are and how expensive that was to build. Have a little think about how much civil engineering really needed to be done in order to create that infrastructure. That's an expensive project right there. See what else you can find out about the walls too. They're some of the best preserved walls in Europe, and they're actually the only bastioned walls that we have in Britain, so they're definitely worth your time. And behind us we have two bridges, and then you can only actually really see one.
We've got Berwick Old Bridge from 1664, which is the one that was built after James VI of Scotland, stroke James I of England, was apparently too scared to cross the wooden one, so he ordered this to be made. But you can't really see it at the moment, because in front of it is the 1928 concrete Royal Tweed Bridge. This is only about 100 years after the Union Chain Bridge, and I'm sure you'll agree it looks like a vast step forward in technology. And in fact, at the time it was opened, it was the longest concrete single span bridge in the UK. It's very light and airy. You can sort of see how it works. We're not sure whether really that's for wind, to stop the wind howling off the sea, or whether to stop it getting knocked down in floods. But it's really quite modernist. If I didn't know it was from 1928, I would say 1960s. It reminds me of the South Bank Centre in London a bit, that 1950s, 1960s brutalist architecture. So almost 100 years old itself. What a marvellous bridge. And looking that way is another bridge, which we're going to talk about in a minute.
We're now at the Royal Border Bridge in Berwick, which is the railway bridge or viaduct just behind me here. It was opened in 1850, and when it was built, some of the stone from the castle was actually repurposed to build it, so you'll find some of the stones taken from the old castle and put inside the bridge. Quite a civil engineering feat for the day. It has amazing number of arches. See if you can count how many arches are comprised within the bridge, and also it's quite a height too. It's 37 metres from the railway line height to the height of the water or the river level. Quite impressive.